Cowboys Nation, the trip to Indianapolis is officially in the books, and now the real conversations begin. The Combined always gives us whispers, behind-the-scenes movement, and subtle signals about what this front office is thinking. And this year feels no different. There is optimism in some areas, tension in others, and a few storylines that could define how the Dallas Cowboys approach the next several months. And the biggest takeaway right now is that the calm surface hides a lot of strategic maneuvering underneath. Let's start with the health update that caught many fans off guard. Defensive lineman Sam Williams underwent surgery to repair a torn hip labrum, a procedure that actually happened roughly 5 weeks ago. That timing matters. It means he played through discomfort during the season, which tells you something about his toughness and commitment to being on the field. Hip labrum injuries are not minor setbacks. They affect explosion, leverage, and flexibility, all critical traits for someone battling in the trenches. The encouraging part is that the surgery took place early enough in the off-season to give him a legitimate shot at being ready for training camp. He is expected to miss most of the organized team activities. And that is significant because this defensive line room is not exactly overflowing with depth. Dallas needs him back at full strength before pads come on Oxnard, because without in the rotation starts looking dangerously thin. Shifting from health to contract drama. The situation surrounding George Pickens is beginning to feel like a slow burn rather than a quick resolution. Conversations between the Cowboys and Pickens camp have not escalated into anything substantial. There have been no deep negotiations, no meaningful progress toward a long-term extension, and that silence speaks volumes. When you look back at past off-season standoffs around a league, you can almost feel the pattern repeating itself. The franchise tag gives the team leverage, and right now, Dallas appears comfortable using it. That does not mean Pickens is thrilled about it. From a player's perspective, the tag provides security but limits flexibility and long-term guarantees. The question hovering over everything is simple. Will Pickens end up playing on the franchise tag? If no extension is reached before free agency and if nothing materializes before the draft, then this could easily drag into July. That is when pressure rises, narratives heat up, and both sides start calculating risk versus reward. Dallas could lower the immediate cap hit with a long-term deal, spreading money across multiple seasons. Instead, by waiting, they are signaling that they are willing to gamble on timing. The market is unlikely to explode with teams lining up to offer a massive contract and surrender premium draft picks. That scenario feels unrealistic. So, the Cowboys might believe patience favors them. Still, patience can quickly turn inattention if off-season workouts approach and attendance becomes a storyline. Now, let's talk about Brandon Aubrey. Because the noise around his contract escalated quickly at the Combine, reports surfaced suggesting dramatic disagreements over numbers. But as more clarity emerged, the picture became far less chaotic. Dallas has already put forward what would be considered a market-setting offer for a kicker. They actually began those efforts before last season even kicked off and have since adjusted the numbers upward. Negotiations, from what we understand, have not been hostile. There is no shouting match narrative that holds weight. Instead, this looks like standard back and forth between a team that recognizes elite production and a player who understands his value. The fascinating part is not whether Aubrey will become the highest-paid kicker in the league. It is by how much he will surpass that mark. Harrison Buter currently sits at the top tier of kicker contracts, averaging over $6 million per year. Aubrey is positioned to exceed that. $10 million annually seems unlikely given the leverage Dallas holds, with restricted free agent tenders and future tag possibilities. However, a deal in the $7 to $8 million range annually feels realistic, especially when you factor in guaranteed money. Dallas can manage the cap hit more efficiently with an extension rather than relying on short-term tenders. And from a roster-building standpoint, locking in stability at kicker after the production Aubrey delivered is not just a luxury. It is a strategic move. Speaking of strategy, the salary cap situation is the real chessboard here. On paper, the Cowboys appear significantly over the cap when factoring in the franchise tag for Pickens. But anyone who has followed this team knows that the initial cap number in early March rarely tells the full story. Restructures are practically an annual tradition. Contract for Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Tyler Smith present opportunities to convert salary into bonuses, spreading hits into future years, and instantly creating space. Without even touching more complicated deals, Dallas can manufacture tens of millions in room relatively quickly. That brings us to Kenny Clark, the most intriguing cap decision on the table. His contract contains a looming bonus that becomes guaranteed soon, creating a clear timeline for action. A simple restructure could free up close to $10 million, but that would push money further into the future. An extension, on the other hand, opens the door to even greater flexibility, potentially freeing up around $15 million in space, depending on structure. There is no guaranteed money left on his deal, which theoretically gives Dallas the option to move on cleanly. However, all indications suggest a release is unlikely. The front office values stability on the defensive interior, and extending Clark would align with that philosophy. The larger picture here is about balance. Dallas needs immediate cap relief to operate in free agency, but they also must be careful not to mortgage future seasons recklessly. Every restructure is a short-term gain with long-term consequences. Every extension reflects confidence in a player's durability and production trajectory. The coming weeks will reveal just how aggressive this front office intends to be. Will they double down on core veterans and push cap charges forward? Or will they exercise restraint and accept a quieter approach in free agency? One thing is certain: the quiet phase is ending. Decisions on Pickens, Aubrey, and Clark are interconnected pieces of a broader financial puzzle. The combine may be over, but the real maneuvering is just beginning, and each move will ripple through the roster in ways that shape not only this upcoming season, but the competitive window for years to come. As the financial puzzle continues to unfold, the pressure on the front office becomes more intense with each passing day. The Cowboys know that restructuring contracts is not just a technical move on paper. It is a commitment to a direction. When you convert salary into signing bonus, you are essentially saying that you believe this core group can carry you not only through the upcoming season, but through multiple seasons beyond that. That is why the decisions involving Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are not automatic, even if they feel routine from the outside. Prescott's contract has been adjusted before, and each time it creates breathing room in the present while tightening flexibility down the road. Lamb represents a cornerstone piece of the offense, and moving money around his deal is less about risk and more about timing. The organization must calculate exactly how far they are willing to push future cap hits to remain competitive right now. There's also a broader philosophical question hanging over this off-season. Are the Cowboys trying to make a bold splash in free agency, or are they positioning themselves to maintain stability and rely on internal development? Creating over $50 million in cap space through restructures and extensions sounds impressive, but that money disappears quickly once you begin filling roster holes. Depth along the offensive line, reinforcement at linebacker, additional help in the secondary. All of that requires resources, and while big names generate headlines, championship teams are often built through calculated, disciplined spending rather than emotional reactions to market noise. The defensive line rotation is another area that cannot be ignored. With Sam Williams recovering from hip surgery, the coaching staff must evaluate how much they could depend on early contributions from younger players. Training camp will be crucial not just for Williams' health, but for establishing a reliable pass rush rotation. The Cowboys have leaned heavily on star power in recent seasons, but sustained success demands waves of pressure. If Williams returns at full strength by the start of camp, that stabilizes the group considerably. If there are setbacks, Dallas may need to explore veteran options to prevent the unit from becoming overly reliant on one or two playmakers. Meanwhile, the ongoing uncertainty around George Pickens has the potential to shape the tone of the entire offseason program. If he participates fully in workouts, it signals alignment and professionalism. If he stays away, the conversation shifts from strategy to distraction. That is the delicate balance of franchise tag situations. From the team's perspective, the tag provides cost certainty for 1 year. From the player's perspective, it delays long-term security. The Cowboys are betting that the leverage of the tag combined with market realities will keep negotiations manageable. But history around the league shows that prolonged negotiations can evolve into emotional battles, especially when pride and public perception enter the equation. Then there is Brandon Aubrey, whose situation feels far less dramatic, but equally significant. Elite kickers are sometimes undervalued until a season hinges on one swing of the leg. Aubrey has demonstrated consistency under pressure, and in a league where margins are razor-thin, that reliability becomes invaluable. The debate is not about whether he deserves to reset the market. It is about structuring a deal that rewards performance while preserving cap flexibility. Guaranteed money will likely be the key sticking point because annual averages only tell part of the story. For Dallas, locking in a dependable kicker reduces one variable from the weekly equation, and that peace of mind carries weight in close games. The Kenny Clark decision may ultimately be the pivot point for the entire cap strategy, extending him with signal confidence in his role as an anchor along the defensive front. It would also provide immediate financial relief that can be redirected toward other needs. Choosing a simple restructure instead would buy time but increase long-term cap strain. Releasing him while financially clean would create a void that is not easily filled. The defensive interior sets the tone for run defense and interior pressure, and those elements ripple outward to the linebackers and secondary. Every option carries consequences beyond the balance sheet. All of these moves intersect with the draft strategy as well. Cap flexibility influences how aggressive a team can be on draft night. If the Cowboys generate substantial room before free agency, they can approach the draft with freedom, selecting the best player available rather than drafting strictly for need. If cap constraints linger, draft priorities may narrow. That is why the coming weeks are so critical. The front office is not just managing contracts, they're shaping the roster blueprint. Fans often focus on the headline numbers, the reported cap deficits, or projected savings, but the real story lies in sequencing. Which deal gets done first? Does an extension for Aubrey signal momentum toward broader agreements? Does movement on Clark open the door for a Pickens resolution? Timing influences leverage, and leverage influences outcome. In many ways, this off-season feels like a test of patience as much as a test of negotiation skill. There is also the psychological element inside the locker room. Players pay attention to how teammates are treated. When the organization rewards performance decisively, it reinforces trust. When negotiations drag, it can create uncertainty. The Cowboys must navigate that dynamic carefully, especially with a roster built around high-profile leaders. Stability breeds focus, and focus is essential when expectations are as high as they are in Dallas. As free agency approaches, the narrative will inevitably shift toward potential additions. But the foundation of any meaningful move rests on the internal decisions happening right now. Restructures, extensions, and cap conversions might not generate highlight reels, yet they determine whether the Cowboys can pursue reinforcements aggressively, cautiously. Every dollar allocated carries opportunity cost. Spend too freely in one area and another weakness remains exposed. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers around the league have grown louder and the buzz feels impossible to ignore. The latest locker room chatter suggests that a bold move may be brewing in Dallas. One that would shake the emotional core of one of football's most heated rivalries. Sources close to the situation insist that talks, still informal and carefully guarded, could be pointing toward a defensive reinforcement that few would have predicted at this stage. The idea alone has been enough to set social media ablaze. Supporters are debating fits, schemes, and what such an arrival could mean for the identity of the defense. Some see it as a statement of intent, a signal that the front office is willing to cross rivalry lines to chase immediate impact. Others treat it with caution, reminding everyone that rumors often grow faster than reality during the quieter stretches of the calendar. What fuels the speculation is the profile involved. The player at the center of these conversations has built a reputation for intelligent sideline-to-sideline range and leadership well beyond his years. In Dallas, those traits are seen as the missing ingredients to elevate a unit that wants to be feared as much for its discipline as for its athleticism. Coaches, according to insiders, admire the versatility and believe the system could unlock another level. Naturally, The notion of prying talent from a direct rival adds gasoline to the fire. Fans on both sides feel the tension. Excitement mixed with disbelief in Texas, irritation, and denial elsewhere. Until pens touch paper, everything remains in the realm of conjecture. Still, in a league where perception often precedes action, this rumor alone has already changed the conversation, reminding everyone that in football, the most dramatic plays sometimes happen far from the field. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next.